Hello and welcome to another list from Oscar Cooper. We are doing the world's greatest beat-em-ups of all time on most of the modern platforms. I haven't done this PlayStation 4 exclusive because I want to sort of widen my audience, and I think that it deserves to be shown that these games are on Switch and on Xbox and Steam, and there's some really cool ones. Apart from the first game we're going to look at, which technically isn't one of the top, but I want to talk about the rules that I've got for this list and what makes this game slightly out of the category. This is Dragon's Crown we're looking at. Let's see. I'm going to be looking at games that exist on a 3D plane, that scroll left to right. It's kind of called cabinet, i.e. that piece of ground that's tilted can be navigated up and down the screen. Okay, so 2D stuff is not going to be in this list. This game adheres to that format massively. It's even multiplayer up to 4-player, and by the way, every one of these games is going to be couch co-op, of course. I think calling this game a side-scrolling beat-em-up is kind of underselling it. It is a full-blown, 4-player action RPG, both on and offline, with a very in-depth questing system, a full-blown loot system, weapon system, special magics, everything. It's mad. Being from Vanillaware and Atlas, it sports an incredibly recognisable art style that you will have seen before in games like Odin Sphere, and some of this has even trickled down to some of their more recent titles. It is beautiful, the characters are a little bit stereotypical, and that kind of comes with the genre territory, but it's the enemy design, boss fights, amazing animations on the environment and weapon skills. It's really got a lot to give here, but it is not an arcade game. That's what I want to talk about. Most of these games are kind of pick up and play arcadey, get a mate round, they don't have to learn everything. This one is a lot more deeper than that, a lot more deeper. It is available physical, and it is sticking to the Sony side of things. I've just been reading about some people on Steam who are asking about when this game's coming to PC. I just don't think it will if it hasn't by now. So it's PS3 and Vita. It looks amazing on the Vita, to be fair, that lovely screen, and it works as a portable very well. So Dragon's Crown is first up. Hopefully Zombie Vikings is a little bit of an obscure number for you guys, because I sort of dug it up for a Halloween list. Found it on the PlayStation Network for a ridiculously small amount of money. It had a 70% discount for it for that month. I don't know if that's still the case, but it is adorable. It's got an amazing 2D character design, but does boast that cabinet 3D tilted playing field. The detail, the sound production, the art production on this game is sky high. Extremely family friendly, extremely fun to watch. A lot of the animations on the enemies are just brilliant. Boasting 4-player local co-op, which can get a little bit crazy, but it runs perfectly with 2 people. It's one of my favourite beat-em-ups at the moment because of this story, crazy characters, and art style. It really keeps giving, and the characters have huge RPG elements to them with weapon unlocks and various runes that you slot in and slot out. And there's a PvP thing when you find a decent rare weapon. You have to fight over it in this arena. It's amazing. The controls should also get a mention, with a build move, with a parry that can actually knock back an enemy if well timed, a dodge and roll, a run button, aerial attacks, specials that are applicable to each of the 4 different characters. There's so much depth here and fun, you just can't ignore this game. Zombie Vikings. Xbox Live fans will be more than familiar with Castle Crashers, maybe not familiar with the Castle Crashers remastered version. I certainly played this 10 years ago over on the older systems and loved it and remembered it and was waiting for it to come onto the PlayStation Network for such a long time. I ended up getting it on Steam in the end, but Castle Crashers is a staple classic, relatively new for the style of genre, i.e. this isn't a sequel to a game from the 90s or something. It's carved out its own thing, and it's got that very recognisable palette and art style made by those 2 awesome guys who have quite a decent history of awesome arcade indie games. Not massives of depth on the control scheme, it's kind of that hard and quick, and there's a special on the R buttons that is applicable to what character you have. It's normally an area effect that comes out in front of you, but you can go class with this one. There is technically a brawler class, and you can start with slightly different perks, and you can get some range going on with the bow and arrow and stuff. I think it's the cuteness of it all matched with that gore and the fact that this is just so old and is still doing so well. If you've never played a side side-scrolling beat-em-up game, this is a really good place to start because it looks so good and it isn't that difficult and you will smile playing it. I think it boasts the most generous up and down playing field of all of these games. What I mean is that level of tilt you've got is really rich, so you can go up and down, avoid enemy attacks. Your actual attack box that's in front of you is very narrow, so getting on the right lane, so to speak, is a little bit of a challenge when things get busy, but it's just the humour in the game and the visuals that they've attached to a lot of the specials and how amazing the bosses are. The bosses are really weird and applicable to the level you're on and different. You never get a repeat. This isn't a roguelike either. It's a nice campaign with a cool map. In actual fact, none of these games are roguelikes. Holy shit. So it did make it onto the PlayStation Network last year, silently, and it is also available on the Switch, which is a brilliant idea, but this game was born on Xbox Live, and it's real testament to its solid mechanics and gameplay model. Comedy is kind of a good running theme in this game. It trickles into the weapons themselves, it goes into the non-player characters, and a lot of the sounds and art design. So Castle Crashers is defo a look if you're brand new to the genre and don't want to spend too much money. Okay, now it's time for Xing. I massively undersold this game on a 5 more couch co-op video. By the way, if you're new and haven't looked at my previous material, hop on over to the channel. I've got loads of couch co-op stuff, and this featured on a list, and I didn't skimp over it. I just didn't go into the depth that I should have done with it because it's a deep beat 'em up side scroller and very new and very attractive looking. There's kind of an emphasis on character swapping with it. In real time, in game, someone dies, you just flip them out. And it also has a 4-player couch co-op aspect. But it's the other analog stick that's got the majority of your attack moves on it. And you can swipe up and down, you sort of do semicircles, and it pumps out a lot of varied moves. But there is some control, and you do need to stack up these combos, which are listed up in the top right. So there's that slight sort of Devil May Cry style stack of abilities that come with playing the game well. And it all just rolls in, you start getting projectile weapons, you have a clicking on the stick, which makes you transform into a badass. A sort of tongue-in-cheek feudal Japan yokai vibe going on with the enemies and the set pieces, and of course you have this great idea of them coming out of the audience almost to attack you. You sort of get this warning in silhouette. It's a really great idea. Trine did that, where it introduces the enemy in the foreground and then puts them in the fight with you. There's a heavy emphasis on parrying, and some enemies can't be killed without a decently timed parry, so there is that difficulty bar there. I'm personally really happy with this game. If it's the first time you've seen it, I'm going to put the link in the description on the 5 more video because I go into a bit more depth and sort of show you a few of the other characters. There's a cool like Viking bearded dude that when he parries comes back with an amazingly quick attack, and it's very satisfying. Also, the range on the girls with the sticks is very different to that guy that looks like Strider. A lot going on in the right places. I think of all the games, this one's got the most movement and flashy stuff and enemies on screen simultaneously. I think it's modern and can carry it. It's very good on frame rate and performance. I don't really have anything bad to say about this game. Also really freaking gory, and it also has bosses that are not simple, that have layered attack patterns, and the one that we fought for the review was someone that you had to get something in his eye in order to open a window to attack him. Without instigating that, you got nowhere. So there's a lot of thought put in here. It's not the easiest of games, and it's not really the most child friendly, but it's a damn strong side-scrolling beat 'em up. Xing. So it's the newest of them all. It's Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game. It sat over on the PlayStation 3 a long time ago and didn't make it over to the current gen systems because of a licensing issue, squabble, with the suits that caused it to just sit and not get converted. So interesting that we just got it. And yes, it was worth the wait. It kind of inspired the list. It's deliberately 6 to 8-bit tropey, and it's deliberately looking like an old school game. This is kind of homage to kind of the film, its audience, retroism. It's very cool. It even has a lot of the nuances that come with older games, like not having a continue system and being quite difficult. You do have to pay attention on this one. For not playing the original, one of the things that's won me over is its homages to the film with the characters and the music, and particularly the music. The music is amazing. Having the choice of multiple characters also does help. This game is 4-player couch co-op also, only tested on 2-player, and again, I will say, it isn't easy. You need to look, there is a block button on circle, but it's not a parry, it doesn't push back, so it's very passive, and you do have specials on the R buttons, and there is a sort of meter of special power that you have, so you can't spam this stuff. It kind of is a bit fluffy on pick up and drop with objects. There's the classic throw the object or use it, and that goes for the people as well. You can lift those up and throw them, and there's a lot of variation on enemy. It just feels a little sticky for me. There's 2 games coming up that kind of beat Scott Pilgrim, but it is really great to have it on the system finally and looking and sounding awesome. It is really a gamer's game, and one of the things about side-scrolling beat-em-ups is that they're really accessible for everybody and sort of instantly enjoyable, and you can see very quickly about what's required of you. But this is a little bit tougher than that. You need to get in the rhythm of it. It's probably worth looking at if you've heavily into the genre and got really into this on the PS3. Jesus, this game's loud. Head and shoulders loud above everything else on this list. Your editors will know what I'm talking about. The volume just spikes against it. It's crazy. It's from Ark. It's River City Girls. One of my favourites. We're up to number 2 here. And the love and art and homages and just beautiful stuff going on in this game is everywhere. Bosses, colours, characters, even upgrade systems, move unlocks, vendors. River City Girls is a big player in the side-scrolling beat-em-up world. It does try and do things differently. It has this map that enables you to access different rooms and arenas procedurally, so that you can go anywhere or take any route to a boss. So you could sort of go around, completely explore a map, and then go over to a boss room. But it's the way that the controls are stacked up, the way the animations are connected to those controls. Again, this music is stunning, and all of the animations on the enemies, their attire, your upgrades. Brilliant stuff. A little bit like Scott Pilgrim, this again is not easy, and again is aimed at people who are well into this style of game, and it does get incredibly difficult. Some of the boss fights are magnificent, and they have these amazing anime intros and their own music, and it's got this deal with getting an enemy on your side. So if there's someone left in a room during a fight and they're low on health, they will go into a submissive stance, which allows you to put them on your team and have them as a hotkey special. This is also as much fun as it sounds.
They better not be! Relax. Their brains are just broken. They'll be a lot more broken if they ever touch my Ricky!
The tongue-in-cheekiness of it all, the high school setup, the fact that you're playing as 2 girls rescuing their boyfriends, some of the lines that they come out with, all the squabbles that they get into, keeps you smiling, it keeps you going. This game just seems to be so perfect on the Switch. It's one of the few that I would want on a handheld because it's very pick up and play. It's just got that portable vibe to it, do you know what I mean? And it's just the way that it looks and sounds is just so joyful. So having that on the bus or the train, I can't think of anything better than taking out these 2 badass girls and going to hunt down your boyfriends.
Wow!
Now do you understand?
Why is it better than Scott Pilgrim? I just feel that it comes with a few more modern nuances, and I like the animations and the soundtrack a little bit more, and the fact that this is brand new and from Ark as well puts it up there with some of the greats on the system.
You can get as big as me!
Yes, everybody's favourite side-scrolling 3-player beat-em-up from the guys at Streets of Rage. They gave us Streets of Rage 4. It took 25 years, but was it worth the wait? Holy shit, yes. One of my mates has told me that they've hurt their thumb, like actually clinically hurt themselves playing this game, because it is just so awesome. The specials, the combos, the characters. Having all the stuff in the right place, right down to difficulty, right down to synergies with the different characters that you choose, and of course unlockable and open characters. There's the damage material with environments, getting a giant turkey to get your health back, and the sort of pick-up business with the weapons is extremely well done. It's a very cut and dry system. I don't find myself dropping or picking up the wrong thing. I think the pick-up boxes around them are really sweet and narrow, you know, it's good gaming design this. Not having a block is also a little bit super weird after playing 4 games on the trot that do have a block, even a parry. Moving up and down within the plane is the only way to get away from some of the enemy's attack moves. So that requires you to know what they're going to do and to recognize their types really quickly and sort of maneuver around them. Comes with a pretty old school lifing system as well, where you die, you run out, it's kind of over. And I've only got through kind of the first 2.5 major levels. I haven't finished this game yet. Should have done. Maybe I should start preparing my thumbs, but I was going to say I would not want to finish this on a Switch. I would really be concerned with those joy controls under the stress and strain of trying to finish this game. And shit, that rhymes. But everyone was surprised at how good a job they did with bringing a style of game like this out in 2020. It got a lot of nods for couch co-op and being one of the best couch co-ops out there. It's certainly won a few of my categories. That pretty much bolsters its case of being one of the best modern couch co-ops made in the last 5 years. Because of its length and what it gives to you and how it works, I know people that play this game with their girlfriends, I know people that don't even play this game couch co-op, so it's got all these aspects of accessibility, which I think is really important when it comes to a couch co-op game. You want everybody to be able to enjoy it. You don't want them alienated by it looking like an 8-bit retro crazy hard nightmare. I recently did a video, not too recently, about side-scrolling platformer games, 2-player couch co-op side-scrolling platformer games that had Guacamelee 1 and Guacamelee 2 in it. So those games and this game I think are kind of on par. I couldn't include them both because Guacamelee is very much a 2D game, as is a lot of other good stuff in that genre. So I'm going to say goodbye and good luck with all this. I've been Couch Coop. Did